Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Vancouver Rain Draft Glory franchise mode here in MLB The Show 23. So in last episode, we had the Year 7 draft, and we were thinking it was going to be a pretty solid draft for us, and turns out it was another one of those mediocre kind of drafts that there was no real, like, superstar player. So unfortunately, we didn't actually have as good as a draft as we thought. As you can see, our first pick, which we drafted 7th overall, Sammy Gomez. He might be a 68 overall, which is fantastic for an 18-year-old, but he only has the potential of an 83. So it just, I don't know. It's one of those drafts that, like, you think you get good players, like you get good overalls, I would say, out of players, but you don't get that potential that you drastically kind of need in a draft of glory in a sense, because we definitely need a lot better prospects. And we have some good prospects and players in our system, obviously, and that are playing in our lineup. But we do need like kind of superstar type player, not a player that's just going to be an average player. I don't think average players are going to win us a World Series. So hopefully next year's draft and the years beyond that are much better, because the last two drafts have been pretty abysmal for the most part. But in general, I'd say we had an okay draft, all things considered. Like, Brad Thornton being a 61 and 18 isn't too bad. He only has 75 potential, but that means that he'll be at least like a catcher in like AAA and maybe even a backup catcher in the MLB. So there is some solid picks, at least with these players, but the one I'm most excited for, I guess, is Todd Davies, just because he's got the 86 potential. Obviously, a 51 and 19 is not great, but if he ends up being a starting catcher for us down the road, that would be good, because obviously that's an area that we don't really have a whole lot of players in, because now we have like Thornton, we have Davies, and then we also have William Halpern, who is currently, I think, in AA. But anyways, that was that. Before we get into simulating the rest of the season and getting through the entire offseason, I do have a couple comments to go over. So the first one is from Krazig, I think his name is pronounced as. I don't know if that's how I pronounce your name, but apologize if it's incorrect. He says, sign Rodriguez in the upcoming offseason when he becomes available. So Rodriguez was one of the prospects I wasn't able to get that I drafted. Unfortunately, he was like the first player we had rejected quite some time, but it was because his interest was pretty low when we drafted him. So we will look for him obviously in the offseason, because I could bring back a lot of players that we technically drafted, but they didn't sign with us. So guys that we drafted in like the early years, like I think there was a guy named Harold Ramirez, for example. We could bring those guys in free agency at any point in time. So hopefully some of those hit the free agency at some stage, because it would be cool to bring back some players that we could have had in our lineup already. But unfortunately for us, they didn't sign with us out of the draft. But they technically did still get drafted by our team, which means draft glory wise, we can bring them in. So that might be something we do down the road. I do know a lot of them have already signed with teams. Like, I'm pretty sure the Angels and the Phillies both have a couple of them in double and triple A's. So kind of interesting on that note. And then the last comment is from my buddy Kevin, who you guys might know from GoPro Hockey. He says, I think it is time to change your scouts. And I think I might change the scouts. Now, mind you, the drafts haven't been good either for this team. So it's not really fully, I would say, the blame on our scouts. But maybe we do look to changing our scouts at the start of next season, because I do like Kurt Garcia quite a bit, because his positional players, his efficiency is great, his pitchers are great, discovery is pretty good, so I wouldn't mind keeping him. However, our Moss, for example, his efficiency is okay, his positional players is really good, but the discovery and the pitchers not so much. And then you also have Michael MacArthur, who's good at pitchers and discovery. His efficiency kind of lacks, and his positional players kind of lack too. So it'd be better to find some all-around good pitcher, or not pitchers, what the heck, all good all-around scouts like Kurt Garcia is for this team. We could already technically change our scouts right now, which I mean might not be a bad time to do that. If we get rid of both these guys, we'd have another $178,000 to spend on 2 scouts. So I could always bring in this Connie Medina guy. Efficiency is fantastic. It's even better than Garcia's. He's good with positional players. Not so much with pitchers, but it's not terrible. Yeah, I think I'm going to bring this guy in. And I'm going to get rid of both these 2 guys. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of both these 2 guys. So we'll bring in Connie Montero. He'll replace Armas. I can't afford it. Can I just fire a scout, please, instead? Oh, yeah, we'll just do it like that then. So Connie Montero will come in, and we'll get rid of Bill Armas and find ourselves a cheaper scout. Our run that's actually right around the same price, so around $80,000, because I think that's all we'll have left towards scouts. These guys aren't looking too good though. Oof. Anybody that's kind of like an underrated scout? Not really. We might have to stick with Bill Armas because of the money situation. I wish our budget was a little bit higher on this. This guy might be decent if I could afford him. Can I afford him? No, I cannot. What's the most I could afford? 90,000 probably. This guy doesn't have great efficiency though. This guy's solid. He's kind of average. Do we have enough for him? We do not. God damn. I don't really like that. Our budget's not that high. This guy's fantastic efficiency-wise, but he's not really that good at scouting. Let's see. Any other balance guys? This guy's almost fully maximum on efficiency, but not good at scouting really in general too. You want to find kind of a balanced scout. Like this type of guy might be much better. So yeah, I think we're going to go for Thomas Ochoa if I could get him, which I cannot afford him as well. Yeah, maybe the max is we could get is 80,000. Or we get rid of Montero again and find somebody that's kind of just more average in a sense, but we might be stuck with Armas, which I mean isn't terrible, but at the same time, yeah, oof, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to swap Armas yet. We'll wait till the start of next season. Maybe there's a better chance we could flip around our scouts a little bit more. But I think Montero and Garcia will at least give us a better chance at scouting out some players better, because both of them are pretty similar scouters. Not scouters, what am I saying? Scouts instead of scouting-wise. So I think that will do good for us. Just Armas is obviously the weak link there. So looks like I think we had a maximum of 200,000 that we could spend on scouts. But anyways, there is that. Let's go over to the contract extensions and already give out some extensions to our younger guys that we need to. Also, I was talking with like Nick about our team and stuff like that, and he is impressed with guys like Pip and Trevino. And yeah, that was in the Discord. So if you want to join the Discord, I just want to mention that again, just because at least it's an easier way to kind of talk to me as well. Like the comments, I obviously see all the comments, but if you want to actually have like some discussions with some other people and whatnot about certain things, MLB wise, NHL wise, join the Discord. And yeah, it's a fun time. It's already been going on for like a couple 4 or 5 months at this stage, which is kind of nuts. Let's sign Pip to a 2-year deal. There you go. Trevino will get you as well for the same amount of money, because you guys are the future. Todd Goss, might as well sign you up already as well. Future reliever for this team for quite some time probably. And everybody else I didn't draft, I think, right? Yeah, so they don't matter as much. Not going to focus on them yet. One thing also I didn't note in this episode, I noted at the end of last episode, is guys like Garth Howe, Sixto, they're starting to do really well. So it's very exciting to see that at least our top prospects are getting much better. Obviously, especially Garth Howe, because he's having a fantastic year on a not so great team still. So at least with like our big guys like Howe, Sixto, Cardenas, Trevino, Pip, and whatnot taking over, I think our team is definitely going to start to win quite a bit more games than we normally are. Like, we'll be getting closer to being a 500 team probably in the next few years. Hopefully, we end up having some better drafts as well to take us over the top and getting us into a playoff spot at some stage. But let's get through another season here and see where we finish. We'll go to the end of the AA season first, like we normally do. So that way we can take a look at some AA stats, because I am curious on how some of the guys are going to finish off in AA. Also, we do need to do our September call-ups as well. Gary McAllister has been injured, but at least it's only a few days. He's already back. That's good. Doesn't matter too much. Doesn't matter too much. Yeah, at least we're doing, I think, a little bit better in the second half. We're still losing quite a bit of games, but we need to call up 3 people now for September call-ups. So let's go over here to AAA. Actually, let's go to our 40-man roster. Who's our best player? Our maybe not our best players that are in triple. There is William Montero, who has only used 1 option. How's he been so far? Is he worth the call-up? 7 quality starts, and he's played 38 games. Well, 20 games technically. And I don't know if about Montero calling him up yet. We will probably just call up some no-names. So like this John Rossoff guy, he'll come up. And we'll also call up Reggie Telshaw, and then probably 1 pitcher as well. So we'll probably call up Wait, do we not have any pitchers that are on our 40-man that are in AAA or double? I don't think so. We'll just call up then Adrian Casilla. We'll just call up any random people. I don't really care who's coming up at this stage. Obviously, once we become a better team, then it's going to matter more. But for right now, we're still a rebuilding team, so it's not going to matter too much. Hopefully, at least double and AAA have okay seasons. It would be nice to see them make the playoffs at some stage, too, because none of them have made the playoffs yet either. So hopefully that's around the corner. So 26 and 43 for our double A team. Let's take a look and see how they did. So Bobby Hyde was not that great, it looks like. Up to a 67 overall now. He started 24 games. He had 8 quality starts. So that's 1 of every 3 games is a quality start. So that's not bad, I guess. He will be progressing, and maybe he'll be even in AAA next season. So not a really good season, I'd say, for him, but it wasn't a terrible season where obviously we're really concerned. Obviously, he's still really young too, so he's going to take his time at least to get to the MLB. Ray McMahon had a really good season, it looks like, down there in double. He might be getting close to being ready for triple. Batted a .279 this year. 10 home runs, 57 RBIs. Yeah, pretty solid year for Ray. Sbarbori looks pretty solid, actually. 63 at 19 now. Let's see those. Actually, he didn't start games. Oh, he did start games. 14 quality starts. I forgot he was a starting pitcher. I thought he was a reliever. 14 quality starts out of 27 games. So 1 out of every 2 games, pretty much. It's pretty good. So, yeah, Sbarbori is on the right trajectory. Pablo Silva, who is an A potential prospect. Not that great unless his quality starts were high. 25 games started, 7 quality starts, so 1 out of every 3.5 games or so. Not bad. Ron Francisco, he's a reliever, right? Or is he starting? Yeah, he was probably being used as a reliever. He was okay, but nothing spectacular. Delmon Rangel apparently was hot as of late. Let's see, 28 games started. 4 quality starts. Ooh, that's not good. Really rough year for Delmon, I think. Murillo looks pretty good, actually. Yeah, Carlos Murillo is a 56. He was 13 and 13 with a good ERA and a good whip. Yeah, good whip, good ERA, good WAR. 1 quality start, but he wasn't being used as his starter. Actually, he started only 1 game, but he played 77 games, so I guess they changed him over to a reliever, but still, really solid numbers, I'd say, for a 56 overall. Michael Chu batted a .234. He's got A potential, but he's still a long ways away from making it to the MLB. But at least he seems to be on the right trajectory. Maybe he'll be in AAA in a few years. And then from there, hopefully he develops into being a solid player. William Halpern batted at .200. Also an A potential player, but really low overall-wise. Yeah, hopefully some of these guys do much better next year, but it's going to definitely take those guys a long time before they're in the MLB, I think. Darren Ponce was pretty good. Pitched 37 innings, had a good ERA, good whip. He was being more used as a reliever or a setup guy, probably. And I think that's it almost. Segura as well. 1 home run in 328 at-bats. Yikes. Yikes, yeah, and he's a 50 at 22. I don't see this guy making it. I honestly don't, but oh well. Polito is not one of ours. I do think we drafted a guy with that last name before, but that's that. There's AA. A lot of players down there, and not so good of a year for them. Let's see how AAA finishes off their season. They are doing okay, but not good either. Pip has been injured for over 6 months. That's the 2nd year in a row I think Pip has had a big kind of injury. I am very concerned with Jeff Pip. I do love the guy. He's going up for Rookie of the Year potentially this year. But out for over 6 months. He must have tore an ACL, and that might be almost a career-ending injury for him. Oh, no. Jeff Pip. My boy. Yeah, he tore his Achilles. Oh, goddamn. That's the worst case scenario. He's got okay potential still, too, and he's a good overall at 21. Having an okay rookie season, home run-wise, RBI-wise. Not so much on the average, but his season is done. And, yeah, out for over 6 months. He's going to maybe even miss time into next season, maybe. At least we're into the offseason soon, but that is an injury I did not want to see. You never like to see a top prospect go down with a torn Achilles like that. Let's go auto-fix lineups. And I do got to call somebody up because of that as well. Man, that blows. That blows quite a bit. Let's call up Rufus. Oh, that is not good. I think he got injured like that last year, but not as long term. So, AAA finishes 53-97. Not a bad year, I'd say, for them, all things considered. Let's take a look at the top players in AAA, or all their top prospects. Ken Robert was pretty solid. Good numbers. He's probably close to being MLB ready. Probably. Darren Pulls. Not too bad of a first season, I think, for him. Yeah, pretty good rookie season for him in AAA. 14 quality starts, and he started how much games? 29, so pretty much half of his games were quality starts. Luis Guzman, not bad, I think. Let's take a look. No, he doesn't start games. 71, though, at 20. He's going to definitely make it soon, too. Him and Robert. Brian Morris was the one that got injured long time last year. He is getting close to being MLB ready, too. Like, he could easily make the MLB as a 75, because I don't think he's going to get much better than that. So there's that. Pinheiro, pretty solid season for him. 58 RBIs, a 266 average. Gary Steiner was batting over 300. That's a really good year for Gary. I really hope he reaches that A potential, because we definitely could use as much prospects in the MLB as possible. Fletcher Hoffman, 70 RBIs. He might be getting closer as well to being his peak overall-wise. I don't know if he's going to eventually be... Oh, yeah, he is eligible for Rule 5 draft soon, too. So we might have to add him to our 40-man roster if we don't want him to get claimed at some stage. So we might do that, which means he might get a chance at the MLB soon. William Montero is not doing too hot either, I think. 9 quality starts out of 24 games. Yes, it's not terrible, but that's not great. Kenny Ollinger, not Kelly. 22 games started, 11 quality starts. I'll take that. Josh Groves batted to 277 this year. That's pretty good. So at least some of these prospects are definitely having some good years down there in triple and double. Obviously, they're taking a little bit of time to develop, but once they're in the MLB, hopefully they're decent players. Kellenberger, who went up in potential, also had a pretty good year. A 261 average, 725 OPS. A lot of RBIs, a lot of home runs. Who knows? Maybe this guy's a wild card in terms of making it to the MLB at some stage. And I think that's it. Yep, that's it for AAA. Now let's get our MLB season done and see how we finish off this year. See how Sixto and Cardenas and Howe finished the season. So we finished 55 in 107. I don't know if that's our best season yet. I don't always keep track of our records and all that. But let's take a look at our player stats. So starting off, let's actually just go to the MLB part to make it a little bit easier. Actually, we'll go to the lineup and stuff like that, make it a little bit easier. So let's start off with our lineup, and then we'll go to our pitchers. So Anton Trevino batted at 266 this year with 11 home runs, 42 RBIs. He had a 726 OPS and a WAR of 3.5. And he's up to a 79 at 19. So pretty good rookie year for Anton Trevino. Might be up there for rookie of the year, considering Pip got injured. That knocks out one of the top prospects out there. Then we have Ozzy Cardenas, who had a pretty good year again. 70 RBIs, which ties a career high. 13 home runs, so less home runs than last year. His OPS was right around where it normally is, but it's a little bit lower. WAR was right around normal as well. So pretty average season for Cardenas, but he's a 78 at 23, so he's almost technically a legit first baseman at this stage. And Giancarlo Sixto, holy crap. Yeah, we got to lock this guy up long term once we get the chance. Oh, yeah, I forgot that he's a pending free agent once his contract ends, I think. Yeah, we got to give this guy a monster deal. He had 17 home runs this year, so not a crazy amount, but 79 RBIs. His batting average climbed to a 291 and an 851 OPS. So, yeah, this guy needs to be locked up when we get the opportunity to. He also did not make any errors this season, which is pretty impressive, I'd say, as an outfielder. 5.4 WAR. What a good year for Giancarlo. He's up to an 89 at 22. Steve Schneider, let's see how he improved. Not really. His batting average is still terrible. The home runs and the RBIs were solid. A little bit less than last year, but he's kind of a mid player. I don't feel like he's going to develop into being that insane player, but yeah, his WAR is just never usually that good. He's not disciplined at all, I think, though. Bill O'Donnell batted at 225 this year. He's up to a 68 at 23. Pretty much where he normally is at. 10 home runs, 45 RBIs. How is his WAR? Also negative. Yeah, I think it's because I rushed those guys into our 40-man roster faster than I should have. And that's come back to bite us on a couple of those dudes. And then Ollie Gelman batted at 238 this year. He's up to a 71 at 23, so that's not bad. His best season yet. So Ollie's on the right path, it looks like. He also steals quite a bit of bases, so that also helps us out a little bit. And yeah, his WAR's always been positive, so I think Ollie Gelman's been the best out of the bunch in terms of that. And I think that's all I wanted to focus on for players on a roster. Let's look at the pitching rotation. Garth Howe this year, 3.59 ERA, a 1.24 WHIP is pretty good. An 8-12 record. He's up to an 89 at 23. And 33 games started. He had 22 quality starts, so he pretty much 2 out of 3 games were good games. And positive WAR, really good FIP as well, a 3.91. So, yeah, Garth Howe had an incredible season for this team, and once his contract ends as well, we need to give him a long-term deal. So, him and Sixto are definitely going to be quite expensive. Gary McAllister jumped up to an 81. His stats, let's see if they got better. 33 games started. How much quality starts? 15. I wouldn't say that's a terrible season, but he's already 25. He's aging so quick because he was an overager. That FIP improved from last year, but still, he has a long way to go to becoming a good starting pitcher, I'd say. They also did actually call us up William Montero, it looks like, and he didn't play a single game. Todd Goss, how did you do? 4-6, 5.52 ERA, and a high WHIP as well. Yeah, he kind of got a little bit rushed in. The FIP is a little bit better than McAllister's, but still, oof. And then Dennis Lake, up to an 83 at 22. Yeah, pretty good stats as a relief pitcher, or closing pitcher, I should say, actually. The FIP was much worse, though, than last year's, so that's a bit concerning. So there is that. Let's go to league leaders and the awards. This is going to be a really long episode. We still have to get through the entire offseason. I forgot about that. Let's just skim through this quickly and see if any of our guys are up there in any stats. Cardenas was up there in at-bats. Same with Schneider. Not that that matters, really. Anybody up there? Antoine Trevino was up there in stolen bases in his rookie season. Same with Gelman and O'Donnell. So we have a lot of speed on the base paths. That's a good thing. Anything else to take away from the season? Let's see. Does not look like it. Where did Howe finish in pitching WAR? He was at 8th last we looked, and he fell to 20th, but that's still a good year for him. Nobody up there for batting. Let's go to awards. Skim through this a little bit quickly. Yeah, we didn't have any major awards. Pip was up there for Rookie of the Year, but unfortunately his injury kind of held him back a bit. But obviously this Bill Flores guy is a monster, and he is going to win the Rookie of the Year. Did he also win the Cy Young? Or no? No, he wasn't even up there for the Cy Young, surprisingly. Anybody else up there that was close to winning awards? Cardenas was up there for first base for Golden Glove, but he didn't win it. Sixto does win a Golden Glove for left field, so that's great to see. Good job, Sixto. Anybody win anything else here? No. In terms of the NL, we'll skim through this as well. I'm not going to read all this out, but it's just more for you guys so you can at least get a little bit more info on what's going on around the league. Soon enough, I think I'll make eventually like the off seasons their own episodes in a sense, and then the rest of the season will be like an episode or something like that. I don't know, just because off seasons usually take way too long to get through. So there is that. Also, I wanted to take a look at team rankings quickly. We were the worst team batting average wise. Worst team in runs, worst team in hits, worst team in doubles. Not the worst in triples. Triples, where were we? We were 22nd. Home runs, we were dead last. Runs batted in, we were dead last. We were first in stolen bases, though. So, we're a speedy team that does not do anything else, pretty much. And we got caught stealing one of the fewest times as well. Yeah, we're a much better stolen base team than mostly everybody else in the league. So, that's, I guess, a positive. Strikeouts, we were dead last. Yeah, we're pretty much still dead last in everything. Which is not great. Okay, let's simulate through these playoffs and see who ends up winning the World Series. And then we got to get through this offseason, which hopefully doesn't take too long. Padres have beaten the Tigers in the 2029 World Series. So let's take a look at those World Series awards as well. So Ty France is going to win the World Series MVP. Postseason MVPs was Riley Green and Jesus Sanchez. Or it's probably Jesus Sanchez. Maybe it's Jesus. It's probably Jesus. So there is that. They won in 7 games. Damn. Interesting. So there you go. San Diego. World Series champions. Okay, now we got to get through all this negotiating stuff this offseason. We're already like 20-something minutes into this episode too, so I apologize how long this episode's already been, but it is what it is. Okay, let's go to free agent negotiations. I guess we'll try and get back pretty much all these guys just for now, because we need to technically keep this roster as much together as possible for now. Eventually, we'll start to let people go and whatnot, but we'll try and keep these guys around while we develop our younger guys. Because we got quite a bit in the system that eventually probably will be in the MLB at some stage. And we also got to get Tommy Parsons. We'll do 1 year. There we go. Staff-wise, we need a new pitching coach, first base, and third base, which is decent, because maybe that will help turn around our team if we could get some better coaches in. So, Matt Williams, let's give you a decent chunk of money. You want to accept that. We also need a first base and a third base. Let's go down here, trying to find no negatives. Let's go with Beasley. And we need a third base coach as well. We'll go down here. We'll try this guy. All of them are on full interest, so they all should hopefully accept. And that might hopefully turn around our team quite a bit. We are going to look for that Rodriguez guy as well here in free agency 1. I forgot what his first name is, so I'm going to have to look back at the episode from a couple days ago. No. Okay, so let's first look at free agency 1 and find that Rodriguez guy. Then we're also going to add 40 people to our 40-man roster, which includes Steiner, because Steiner has to get added. Same with Pinheiro, a couple other guys. And then obviously we're going to get through the rest of these contract negotiations. So, let's see. Also, I apologize if you could hear my computer in the background. It sometimes makes a lot of noise when I record, and it's kind of annoying. But let's see if we could find that Rodriguez guy that we drafted, and he didn't want to sign with us. And maybe if he's good, at least we'll sign him. If he's like a D potential, I don't know if we will. Maybe we still will anyways. Let's see, where was this Rodriguez guy and what was his first name and all that. Man, it sucks having to go through my video at the same time because I want to just see, where is Rodriguez? Oh, Rafael Rodriguez. Okay, he's a right fielder. So let's go to right fielders here and go to the bottom of this list. We're looking for Rafael Rodriguez. There he is. 49 overall B potential. So that's the guy we drafted, and he didn't want to sign with us, but we will sign him up. He was a 5th round pick. So B potential from the 5th round is not bad. Yeah, we're going to sign him up. There you go. Perfect. So at least we should get him in, and then we'll have a player that we drafted and lost out on, but he's going to likely come back and get a contract with this team and maybe turn into a player for us. So there's that. Let's go to our 40-man roster and add Steiner and Pinheiro for sure, because those guys are very important pieces to the future, so they need to be on our 40-man. The Steiner and Pinheiro. Anybody else that's important? Probably not the rest of those guys. Those guys are definitely not important. But there is Fletcher Hoffman. I'm pretty sure that was eligible to be claimed. Yeah, I'm going to add him as well to our 40-man. He might be the type of guy, though, that we eventually have to waive or something like that. But I think he has... Yeah, he still has a lot of minor league options, which is good. So that should be all we really need to add to our 40-man. Let's go to this contract stuff. Offer some contracts to some of these dudes. Cuero. Maybe I shouldn't have brought back that Rodriguez catcher. Oh well. We'll sign you up. Dosakis or whatever your name is. We'll just sign all these guys. Even if they're asking for like 2.5. I don't really care. I just need to make sure we have our roster set. Worst comes to worst, we just let them, we buy them out or drop them to free agency again. But soon enough, a lot of these guys will have their roster spots taken. So we just wanted to make sure we have guys that could make our roster have as much depth to it as possible. If we run into injury troubles, like that injury to Pip, for example. There you go. Those guys should all accept. Tendered contracts. We'll give all these guys contracts. Robert's still cheap. I wish there was a way to just go offer all on contracts in a sense. Like, it just takes way too long to sign some of these guys up. Luckily for us, we'll have a ton of cap space still to sign all these guys, so it's not a big issue. But at the same time, it's a pain in the ass to go through every single contract in double and triple and sign them all up. Like, I think there must be a way to auto adjust that where you have like double and triple A auto sign stuff, but at the same time, I don't want them to let go of some of my top prospects, right? So hopefully next year's draft is much better though as well, like I was mentioning at the beginning of this episode, because if it is a good draft for us, we'll be able to build up this pool a lot faster. Obviously, it's good to get like kind of bench players as well and build up your roster that way too. But at the same time, we need to have those stud type players to be in a competitive team, because we can't just rely on probably Cardenas, Sixto, Howe, those type of guys. We need to have a full-on lineup that we could rely on in terms of hitting wise, because right now it seems like the only good thing for us is stolen bases. We're not getting enough home runs and we're not getting enough RBIs. So something's got to change, and that will probably be once we actually get like maybe a generational player into our lineup, which hopefully is this coming season. Who knows, because we should have like a pretty high up pick this year. I don't know why we had 7th overall last year. I was hoping that we'd have like a top 3 pick, but I mean, at least it was a bad draft. Hopefully this draft is a good one and we find that there's a good steal and we are able to grab them easily, as that will make it much easier for us. Okay, we are almost finally through this list. Just trying to find stuff to talk about and sign these guys. 1-year deals for everybody, because I'm not giving anybody a long-term deal in double or triple, because pretty much I want to eventually get to a stage where we could replace most of these guys with their own players, which hopefully is somewhat soon. That is, if everybody that we draft actually wants to sign with us, which hopefully we could end up doing for future years. And like I said as well, we might change up our scouting a little bit more even into next season, depending if there's any players or any any scouts that are like right around the $80,000 mark or less that actually look a lot better than our current one, because that one scout's not going to do that good. The other 2 are going to do a good job, but we need to have 3 good scouts if possible, or maybe 3 average scouts to make it a little bit better. Because if you have 2 really good scouts, you're going to have to sacrifice the 3rd one probably. So, okay, we should be almost to the bottom of this list finally. I feel like I sent out contracts to like 50,000 people here. Like, we only have 28,000 or 28 million, not 28,000, 28 million in pending offers, and we still have an available budget of 99 million. So eventually we're going to be able to sign some guys to some big deals. So there's all of that. That's all good. Let's sim to the next stage of free agency. We also still have to get through to Rule 5. There is just so much stuff in the offseason. Yeah, let's stop simulating for a second, see if anybody hasn't accepted yet. All the contracts are done with. Dosaki should accept soon. We're good. Perfect. Let's keep on simulating, because we're at the stage where everything is set up. We'll see if there's a good steal for us in the Rule 5 draft again, because last year the Rule 5 draft was good for us, I'm pretty sure. It was when we got that relief pitcher, right? So, who knows? Maybe this will be a year where we could get another really solid player in the Rule 5. Like maybe somebody that we missed out in terms of the draft that hasn't been added to a 40-man roster yet. Okay, we have the top pick, so let's take a look at what we got here. So, don't have really any interest in these starting pitchers. Most of them are in their 30s. We're not going to be good when they're actually playing, so like they might retire soon. So no young players there. We're looking more for younger guys that could help us impact long term, not like these type of things. Tom Choi is a catcher, 69 overall, C potential at 23. We do need more catchers. I might be not opposed to taking him, but we do have actually a lot in our system, but currently, right now, these two guys are MLB, and then these guys are like AAA, I think, and these guys are all like AA or not even signed. Tom Choi is interesting, but I don't think he fits. There is 70 overall, 26 in Fernando Nieves. Huh, that's kind of interesting, but him being already 26, 24, 70 overall. Frank Castro. Was that one of the ones we drafted? I don't think so. I don't know. It's hard to remember everybody's names. But eventually there's going to be players that we drafted that show up in here too, that are on other teams. Castro might be okay, because Fletcher Hoffman's not really MLB bound for a second baseman. Ben Gelman's not great either, so we might take Frank Castro. Nothing really there. Shortstop wise, there is this guy who's 24, 71 overall. He would be our best shortstop. I don't really want to rush Pinheiro to the MLB just yet, but I could take Buster Cross as another option as well. Yeah, I think Buster Cross might be top on my list. He actually does have some good contacts, so nobody really there. Nobody really there either, I don't think. Yeah, I think I'm going to take that guy. I think I'm going to take Buster Cross here. Just because in Pinheiro, at least, like, if we need to, we could option him back to AAA again. Because we don't want to necessarily rush him. And meanwhile, Buster Cross could be the shortstop in the MLB. Because he's obviously a lower-end player. But, yeah, let's take Buster Cross. That's going to be our pick. And that's all we're going to take in this Rule 5 draft. Because the rest of the players didn't really look that appealing to me. Okay, so Rule 5 draft is taken care of. Now we need to get to the rest of this offseason done with. Not making any trades. No, thank you, Boston. We just want to get the start of next season so we could see what we're working with and see where some of our prospects are ranked. Because this episode's already like at 40 minutes. Okay, sim to renewable contracts. That's good. Skip through that. Skip the screen training. No. And there we go. Okay, so let's take a look at what we got right now roster-wise. So starting pitcher-wise, it'd be obviously Howes and McAllister. Poles isn't on our 40-man yet, but we do got still like Dosakis and stuff like that will probably be up here. But pitching-wise, at least we're looking good in terms of having some solid prospects. Relief pitcher-wise, not so much. That's one area that still probably needs some work, so maybe draft-wise. Closing pitcher-wise, looking solid, I'd say, between Lake, Robert, and Guzman. Then we have catcher-wise, not really a lot of good prospects. A lot of them are long ways away, though. So, there's that. First baseman. Obviously, we got Cardenas. Looks pretty solid. We have Trevino. Looks pretty solid. We got Pip back from his long-term injury, so he is going to be healthy to start this year, but it is concerning with his injury troubles in the past. And we also got Steve still. Steve Schneider, Buster Cross. Pinheiro might actually be in the MLB this year, which might be okay because he actually is a good contact hitter. And also maybe it'll help him raise his overall to like a 73, 74. We got Ray McMahon still. Sixto, looking good. Steiner, I don't know if he's really ready for the MLB, so I might option him back down and then keep Glenelyn instead up here. Ollie Gelman still, and in right fielding wise, we got O'Donnell and this Briggs dude. Huh. So there is that. And in terms of our top prospects this year, do we have anybody in the top 50, or is this the first year we won't be like that? We have Pablo Silva at number 21. Hopefully he develops in that A potential, please. Anybody else in the top 50? No, that's our only prospect in the top 50. So we had a stage where we had like 8 prospects in the top 50. We're kind of not drafting that well as of late, it seems like. Hopefully this upcoming draft is much better for us. But we do got some big contracts to deal out. Garth Howe is the big one. Same with Cardenas. Wow. Over 2 years, Cardenas wants $10 million a season. Huh. I do need Cardenas locked up, I think, for sure, though. But Garth Howe, though. We might have to do the max term, or yeah, like the 10-year deal or something like that, and make it front-loaded and give him a lot of money. Yeah. We might have to do his max deal because we know that he's going to be a really good pitcher and he's not got a whole lot of time left of ARB and whatnot. Like, I could take in the ARB a few more years, but that asking price is just going to keep on going up. So, he is the big one. Dennis Lake is also pretty big, but he'll be a little bit cheaper since he's a closer. Also, I had Gary to worry about. He wants a lot of money. Oh my goodness. Why does Gary want that much for over 3 years? We'll probably end up giving him a 3-year deal or something like that just because we don't really have anything else. But yeah, a lot of our top prospects need bigger contracts, which is not great. Last thing I want to take a look at is our depth chart. So this is what we're looking like right now. Next year, that's what they say we're looking like. So like Trevino would be an 86 by then, Cardenas an 81, Pip an 87, Sixto an 96. So we might be actually pretty good next year. Definitely a lot of weakness still. Then we have 3 years out. We would be looking even better. Obviously, it depends if guys like Cardenas are signed into that season, but yeah, it's looking okay for the future. We just need to keep on developing. We need to hope that we get a really good draft for us as well, because that could change the complexion of this team a little bit too. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Vancouver Rain Draft Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we will start scouting out the upcoming draft, start up the season simulation, see where this team finishes. But likely, we're going to have another bad year ahead of us. But at the same time, hopefully a lot of our guys are just getting more development. And hopefully we get a draft class that could help change our team's future. So anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.